What you guys got another video on Windows 11 25H2 Debloat guide, remove bloatware and disable telemetry. I'm not going to be talking too much about what you should do. I'm just going to be answering a lot of questions that I see in the comments section down below. We're going to be using Winhance to do this job for us, and it should clean up the system pretty nicely by removing all of the pre-installed applications and making all of the setting changes that we need to turn off telemetry and also data harvesting from Microsoft. So let's get started in this video. Now, first of all, we're going to need to download Winhance. Now, there's plenty of options out there, but I find Winhance is super easy to use and it's reversible and it's easy to understand. You just check mark the boxes that you want on some of the stuff you want to uninstall or you want to disable on your PC. So that's what we're going to be using in this video. There's a download link here, or you've got the link where you can open up PowerShell and it'll pull it down via PowerShell if you want to do that. So I'm going to use the PowerShell method right here. And once we get this downloaded, it should open up and we'll need to probably restart the PC before we start to make changes to our PC. Like I said before, it's important that you understand that you are going to be making changes to the operating system. And a lot of people I see in the comments section just trash Windows altogether as if it's done for and no one's going to be using it anymore and you should be using Linux at this stage. There's a lot of hate going around on the internet about Windows and about Microsoft and about Bill Gates. Now, I've even seen some loyal Windows users actually jumping on the bandwagon and just hating on Windows every single video I do about Windows. I use Windows every single day and I'm not going to be changing that anytime soon. And the reason why is because it is the best operating system for me and for probably millions and millions of other people. So why is the hate so strong for Microsoft or Windows in general? I think the reason why is because of the broken updates they keep pushing out, which is true. But then you have to ask the question, how are people getting these updates installed on their system? It's because they're installing updates immediately as soon as they are released. So no matter how many videos I've made explaining to people to set your Windows updates to manual and control when your updates are installed on that system, people want to install them all the time straight away. So that's the first point. Now let's quickly just remove these Windows apps right here. I normally select them all and then I uncheck the ones I want to keep. But you select the ones that you want to keep on your system and the ones you want to remove. It's that simple. We already have a restore point set on the PC, so we're safe to continue to remove some of these apps. Now, a lot of people make a big song and dance about all of the bloat that's inside Windows. It's really easy to remove. There's plenty of tools, programs, and scripts out there that will do it all for you, or you can even do it manually. It doesn't take that long. But people love to create a big song and dance about all of the bloat inside Windows. And once you get this all off the system works perfectly fine and you should be problem-free on your PC, as long as you don't keep pushing out feature updates on your PC and you just wait. Just wait a week or two or even 5 weeks before you even roll out any sort of update on your PC. Keep an eye on YouTube and read Reddit forums and things like that to see if there's any major problems. If there is, then you've done the right thing. You're not going to have those problems because you're on a manual setting. If you keep pushing updates immediately as soon as they're released, then you run in the risk of having a broken update and it causes mayhem because Microsoft have had a lot of problems of late, but they are starting to try to fix a lot of these issues now. So hopefully things will get better from here on. Okay, so I've got the settings set how I like it. I'm going to keep the ones I've got set here. Again, you keep which ones you want to keep. If you want to keep a lot of the applications like Photos, Media Player and programs like that, by all means, uncheck them and keep them. If they got a green light next to them, it means they're installed on the PC and they can be uninstalled. So let's go ahead and uninstall these. I'm going to save a removal script to ensure continuous removal by just doing this right here, and it will stop them coming back. So I'm going to go ahead and uninstall. Once this is done, we can move on to the next stage. So for the next stage, we're going to go to the optimize. Now this has been broken down into 6 segments. We're going to do the privacy one first. So let's go ahead and do some of these settings right here. So I'm going to turn a lot of this stuff off because I don't use it, i.e. Wi-Fi sense, and also remote assistant, Windows error reporting. If you need any of this stuff, then leave it toggled on if you want to keep it. All this section right here is all to do with content delivery and advertising. So I'm going to be turning a lot of this stuff off. So I'm going to work my way through this right here, and you can read some of the messages underneath here, which will help you decide whether you want to keep it or remove it. So you can see here, prevents OEM manufacturers from automatically installing bloatware apps. If you leave it on, that will give them the opportunity to, basically do that. If you want to turn it off, you can turn it off. It's entirely up to you. Pre-install suggested apps. We've got pre-installed apps, history tracking. Also, we've got silent app installation. I would basically turn all these off normally. So I'm going to go through here and turn all of this stuff off. This is your general settings right here for advertising ID. And you can see we've got a lot of notifications. Some people like to leave notifications on. I normally turn all that stuff off. And then you've got your speech recognition, your online speech recognition, your narrator and stuff like that. If you don't use it, turn it off. And then we've got the inking and typing as well. And we also have the send diagnostic data. I normally turn all this stuff off as well. And we also have all of the search permissions as well. You can go through here, like allow Cortana. I don't normally allow that. Normally turn that off as well. Cloud content search for Microsoft accounts. If you have a Microsoft account and you use that content, then don't turn it off. It's that simple. Take your time and read what they are, and you can then decide whether you want to turn it on or off. Now, location services, I'd turn that off, but if you use weather, then you want to keep that on. Microphone access, I leave on, and I turn everything else off because I don't use a webcam on here. And once you're done, you can move on to the next section. It's that simple. Just work your way through. And the good thing about apps like this is they give you more control on what you want to enable and what you want to disable. Whereas running a script will just do it all for you. They have chosen on some of the things that you should turn off and remove and uninstall. Whereas this gives you more control. So if you want to keep Microsoft Store, then don't check mark it to be uninstalled. Leave it. And then that way you get full control of the settings that you need on your system. So do I think Windows 11's a pile of trash, like a lot of people call it? Well, it is, believe it or not, one of the most secure operating systems that Microsoft have released. Unfortunately, there's a lot of bloat inside here, and a lot of people would like to have the business versions of Windows 11 that don't have all the bloat and have a lot of legacy apps and all of the Copilot and Recall non-installed on that system. That is what most people would like to have. And they would like Microsoft to release a version like that to the general public so they could use it, rather than using the versions that we're using right now, which you have to go through, unfortunately, and use all of these sort of tools to actually remove a lot of this stuff and disable this stuff. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Windows 11 has become a different beast compared to Windows 10. There's more AI and there's more bloat pre-installed on the system. They're trying to do forced Microsoft accounts. There is ways around that. We already know that, but they're tightening down and making it harder for people to actually use these bypass methods. Microsoft are trying to stop it. They've even stopped Rufus from downloading ISOs, but in all honesty, you really shouldn't be downloading ISOs via that method anyway. You should always get them from the source. So we're just going to go through here and turn off storage sense and also a bunch of other stuff here. Apps in background you can leave on or turn off. It's entirely up to you. If you've got an old PC, you might want to turn it off, but modern day PCs, you're not going to notice any difference. The main thing to take here in this video is you really want to concentrate on the bloatware and the telemetry. They are the main areas. All this gaming performance stuff is up to you whether you want to mess with it. Some people like to leave it alone, but if you want to turn some of this stuff off, by all means, crack on and go for it. Prefetch feature, some people like to turn this off with SSDs for wear and tear reasons. I've not really seen much problem by leaving this on, but if you have got an hard drive, you definitely want to leave prefetch feature on, but it's up to you whether you turn stuff off or leave it on. It really is up to you. It's your PC, your settings. Now, all the services here generally set to manual recommended here, and this will reduce down the process count inside Windows as well. Preinstaller, obviously, if you've got a printer, then leave that alone. People like to turn this off or set it to manual because obviously most people don't have a printer nowadays. But if you do and you're using it, then leave it alone because you will need it. And that goes with any other service that you might need. Like phone service, if you use a phone and you connect it to your PC, you might want to leave that service on so it automatically detects your phone so you can transfer files on and stuff like that. If you don't use that, then by all means turn it off. Now, another thing I want to point out is a lot of people make a lot of emphasis on the fact that this is going to boost performance quite a lot. And it does reduce the processes quite a bit, but it doesn't really boost the PC performance as such. Now, you might want to turn off a bunch of this stuff like customer experience improvement program, and that's because that's part of the telemetry. And there's a bunch of other stuff in here like feedback and diagnostic data collector task and a bunch of other stuff in here, which is to do with the task scheduler. So disable the ones you don't need. If you don't need these, then turn them off. Okay. Now there is one here called malicious software removal backup task. If you're using anything to do with that, then leave that alone. Same with startup app tasks as well. You can turn these off if you wanted to. It's entirely up to you. Maps update task and so on. Family safety monitor task. If you're using the family safety feature for your children on your PC, then obviously you don't want to turn that off because it's not going to monitor it properly. Common sense, just use a bit of common sense here. Now, this next section, I've seen a lot of people talking about this visual effects. They talk about this will boost your PC performance. I can't believe I'm still seeing people make content like this to say it's going to make a dramatic change to your PC. All it's going to do is turn off a bunch of animations and transparencies and things like that. And if you've got a potato PC, then it might actually give you a few more system resources. But a modern day computer, it will do absolutely nothing. And that is it. All it's going to do is make it a little bit more ugly because you're going to have solid colors and you're going to have no nice animation moving when you're swiping between, folders. It's just going to be a simple go straight to that folder. It's not going to be pretty at all. Sticky keys, again, I don't know anyone who uses that. I don't know why that's still a thing, but you can turn that all off. Narrator, you can turn that all off as well. Security updates, again, it's normal, which is default, but I would normally put this to security updates only, recommended, and again, you won't be pushed for, feature updates. So when they release 26H2 or 26H1, you might not want to install those right away, and you don't have to. You can wait and you can stay on 25H2 for a while if you want to. As long as you're getting security updates when they're ready to be installed, Microsoft will normally fix these quickly because they're security updates, and they will release a quickly emergency update for that if it's broken when they released it. So that's entirely up to you whether you set that setting there. But they're generally all of these settings. The notifications part is obviously what it says on the tin. It's going to notify you, and some people don't like to be nagged to do certain things. So you can turn that off if you want to. And that's one of the settings that most people like to turn off. Some people like to have some notifications, but if you don't, and you don't want to be pestered, then turn them all off. Okay, so we're just going to go through and finish off some of these settings like change clock notifications and Windows security notifications. I generally would leave those if you're using Windows security, But the sound settings, I mean, these are not really going to do too much, but you can change these if you want to. If you want to turn some of them off, narrator. If you're not using narrator or anything like that, then turn all that stuff off. Goes without saying. But yeah, generally you would go into here like transparency effects. If you don't want it looking really nice, then obviously you would turn all that off. Dark mode I'm going to put on. But if you want a solid color for your taskbar and things like that and no nice transparent effect, then you would obviously turn this off. And of course, some people will say that it's going to give you a bit more system resources, but again, it will make the system look pretty ugly. It's just entirely up to you the way you want to set yours up. Inside here, you've got your taskbar settings. You can set up the search icon. You can hide this completely or have it to search icon only. And you can also show task view button. I turn all that stuff off. Widgets, taskbar alignment, have it to the left if you want, and enable this end task in taskbar as well. So that's all done. And there's going to be a few other little settings in here, like tweaking settings for the operating system, like adding, you know, the right click context menu and things like that, like recommended section. You can hide this if you want to, and also go through some of the other settings here, like show recommendations, tips, shortcuts. We don't need any of that stuff. Show account related notifications. I'm going to turn all that off. And you could just go through this customization section right here. Like I would turn this on, these add, take ownership to the context menu, add, show, hide extensions. I would do that as well and use the classic menu and so on. Now the dynamic lighting is to allow dynamic lighting control for ARGB and stuff like that. I would leave that on. And again, I would go ahead and disable the print management if you're not using a printer. Goes without saying. I have this set to this PC. And also show recently used files and folders. I don't do that. I turn all that off. And Office, I'll turn that off as well. And that's it, pretty much. So there's a few more settings here that we can change. And show hidden files, folders and drives. And we also have hide empty drives and a bunch of other stuff. You can go through here, show file extensions and things like that. You can go through and turn some of these on and customize these to your own liking. You can do this in Windows, but while you're here, you can go through and customize this the way you want it to save you having to do it once you're inside Windows and you get Windows fully set up. There's one right here, show gallery. If you don't want the gallery or show the home folder, you can turn that off as well. You can go through and set these up how you like. I don't use that gallery part, so I would just generally turn that off. And that's it. Now, I can already hear the Linux fanboys saying in the comments section, oh, what a palaver, what you have to do to get Windows usable. And you're right. Unfortunately, they are right. Windows 11, you have to jump through a lot of hoops to get it stable and get it nice the way you like it. Now, once you get it like this, it is actually a decent operating system. Once you turn all the filler off, it's pretty decent and it runs smoothly. So, unfortunately, we're just going to have to go through and keep doing this until Microsoft bring a version out that is not full of this stuff. And hopefully they start listening to the user base and we get something real soon. Now, I need to install Chrome on here because I removed Edge. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right here. And I'm going to install 7-zip and VLC. And you can install, some legacy apps, which is what I'd advise you doing in the future. If you want to see a video on that to remove all of the old Windows 11 apps and installing legacy apps, then by all means, I'll make a video showing you that. It's pretty straightforward stuff. But yeah, that's what I would generally do myself on my own system if I'm using Windows 11 as a daily driver. Now, one thing I have noticed is some hardcore Windows users that have actually jump ship to Linux have now become, I don't know, haters of Windows all of a sudden. And it's quite sad to see because at the end of the day, it's just an operating system. Whether you use Windows, Mac, Android, it really doesn't matter what you use. Choose your poison, use it and get on with your life. You don't have to spend most of your days hating on a channel or hating on Windows because now you've jumped over to Linux for some reason and you now want to hate on every Windows user on the platform. They're going around on YouTube videos. I see it on every tech channel where I go, and I view some tech channels and I see the same old stuff, the same old people copying and pasting the same comment. It's ridiculous. It really is. Get a life. It's just an operating system at the end of the day. So I've changed the start menu to start all back. You can put start 11 or whatever it is on there. It's better than that big monstrosity that Microsoft have released. And that's it. You're pretty much good to go. Yes, you've got to jump through a few hoops here, but once you get it set up like this, you're pretty much good to go. This will work perfectly fine, nice and smooth. Play all your apps that you want to play all your games you want to play, and you won't have to use substitute apps because you've gone to Linux and it's something you're familiar with. It's that simple. Now, if you don't like Windows for whatever reason, then by all means, make the transition over to another operating system and use that. But just don't become a troll and believe everything you see on the internet. There's a massive influx of channels right now on YouTube that are just about hating on Windows, about Microsoft, about the CEO of Microsoft, about Bill Gates, about Windows itself. And these troll channels are just like pumping out stuff every day. The thumbnails have just got Bill Gates on them. And it's ridiculous. And they're talking about as if it's the downfall of Windows, as if it's dying a death. It's not going anywhere. So be careful what you believe on the internet. Now, if you do want to install legacy apps, you can do. You can install legacy apps, get rid of the original apps like the Notepad and Paint, and use these legacy apps. You can install these and they won't have any, Copilot in them. I'll make a video showing you how to do all this in another video if you want to see that, on how to replace all the apps so you don't have to use Microsoft apps if you're that paranoid about them harvesting your data. Anyway, I think that's going to be about it. We got there in the end. Bit of ranting in between, but hey, it's clean, it's nice, and it's lightweight. I hope this video has been useful. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. I'll be happy to read your comments, good or bad. It don't bother me. Quick shout out to my YouTube members who join my YouTube members group. I appreciate the support, and I shall catch you in the very next video. Bye for now.